And got
Thank you, Minister Winde, for speaking with us. We have a couple questions we'd like to ask.
Sure.
You've been out in Betty's Bay, you've been through Harold Porter. What's your message to the residents of Betty's Bay, to the residents of Overstraat, of what you've seen?
Well, first of all, I drive through and see the devastation. It's like deja vu. So we just at the end of last year had the same thing in the Southern Cape again, and then of course a year and a half ago we had the same in Knysna. One thing about fire is it doesn't choose, it always gets me the randomness of it. A wooden house standing in the middle of this burnt area and brick houses disappeared. But really what I saw is devastation again. It is what climate change is delivering to us. The risks are there. I'm the Premier candidate for the DA going forward in this election, and I've been choosing what are those areas that I would like to focus on, and resilience is a big issue for me. Are we resilient? A fire starts in Silvertown in Khayelitsha and 1,000 shacks or 1,000 homes are disappeared, within an hour. People, everything that they own in the world is gone. I know exactly personally what it's like because it happened to my own family in the last fires. But we're not resilient enough, and we've got to do a lot of work around building that resilience. That means the alien management. That means understanding climate change is bringing change, bringing a different environment, and fires, floods, all of these things are going to impact us differently. But I think right now what I saw is what I see every time. The South Africanness that comes out. Obviously there's the officials that do their work. There are those volunteers that do their work, and that's amazing. It always blows me how volunteers get involved and do such amazing things. Our firefighters out there day and night. But then what happens is civil society stands up, comes out of nowhere, and starts supporting, bringing food, helping people who've lost things. That South Africanness is really special for me, and I want to thank every single person in this region who just stood up and did their little bit. They don't do it for recognition. They don't want their name in lights. They just come around, drop stuff off, go and help, do whatever's necessary. And that's really great to see, and thank you very much to everyone that's been involved.
There's a lot of moves afoot now, even on a national level, that we just need to ban fireworks in this country totally. What's the DA's position?
Okay, so I see it, we've tried to manage it in our municipalities, certain areas. Quite frankly, I think with the answer to the previous question on resilience and the environment we find ourselves in, I am more and more inclined to agree that it should be just a total ban. It is a difficulty because, you think about us competing as a venue when it comes to Australia versus Cape, Sydney versus Cape Town, and New Year celebrations versus London, and what do you think about? You think of those fireworks. But then we've got to rethink it to say, well, what else can we be showing the world that looks maybe a little differently? But so quite frankly, right now, I say that I agree that it's got to be, that I would look at the process to say, how do we ban? And of course, this is not actually fireworks, this is a flare. I think that's even worse. I used to be a volunteer with NSRI for 10 years or so, and the worst time is around New Year when people are blasting off their old flares, thinking it's just great for celebration. What happens if someone's in trouble? And so it is also a big issue, and I think that's even more so. The fireworks banning is one discussion, but actually false alarms, because letting off a flare is a false alarm. It's like pushing the SOS button. Totally unacceptable. We need to find a different way on how to deal with that. But of course, that perpetrator has been arrested. There will be a legal process that follows. But we must understand that we live in a severely impacted area from climate change. We've gone through many years of serious drought. Parts of our province are still in very deep drought and in deep trouble. Society needs to think differently.
There's also been some criticism that while the municipality here did a great job about telling people that fireworks were banned, including flares and Chinese lanterns, that the penalties were not big enough of a deterrent, and so people didn't take it seriously. Is there more that municipalities can do at the local level to really get that message across so that people know how serious this is?
So, I suppose penalties could be increased, but I'm becoming more and more convinced that we have to do other things. Behavioral change science tells me that we've got to do other things. We know what the penalties are for doing a whole lot of things to ourselves, and we know that they are long-term effects and death. but we still do them. So yeah, I think we've got to find other ways. Penalties could be one of the tools, but we've also got to look at other ways. It's got to be an education process. It's got to be a civil society responsibility process. So but I'm happy also to be involved in that kind of discussion. We need to get to the stage where people say, hang on a second, it's not the done thing. You know, in South Africa, when we became a democracy, I think about business people prior to the democracy. It was people would brag about stealing from the taxman. Then we became a new democracy. We got proud of SARS. I mean, they take our money, but we were proud of it. And it was just not the done thing. So we need that kind of behavioural change. We need people to say, hang on a second, it's not, what are you doing with this stuff? It's just not the done thing. And that's a bit more complex, but I think you've got to do the two together.
On a totally different topic altogether, coming up to elections, one of the themes that residents have been talking about, it's been written in papers and so forth, is that while we live in a municipality that is fantastic at keeping the lights and water on, and the work they've done, the fire is just an example of what a great municipality they are at dealing with those sorts of things. But when it comes to things like social unrest and the social issues, there's been a lot of criticism that the DA is just not up to the task of doing that. What do you think?
It's interesting that the criticism is that the DA is not up to the task, but I mean it's the issue that faces every municipality in South Africa where people are moving for opportunity. Whose responsibility is when someone comes here to look for opportunity and sets up a structure, and now suddenly the local taxpayers must sort it out. Because you're saying it's the DA, and of course that's the political management, but who in fact at the end of the day, it's the local taxpayer. And yes, I suppose we must maybe stand up and say, yes, fine, we're open to criticism, but quite frankly, when you ask me that question, I say to myself, well, you've got a choice in South Africa, you know. Go and have a look at what the ANC have done, and go and have a look at the DA does, and I promise you, in a DA municipality, it's better than an ANC municipality. I would love to be in a space where we could say, actually, look at this DA municipality. There's not one person who lives in an informal settlement. There's not one person who doesn't have a job. Well, that's what we strive towards. So, sure, you know, that's the judgment day is on voting day. That's what I'm doing at the moment, crisscrossing the province, saying this is what we've done for the last 10 years at a provincial level. I know your questions are more local level, but it's a provincial and national government election. Judge us on our track record. And there's a lot of work to be done. We've got serious work in education outcomes and health outcomes. The unrest and the criminal stuff that happens with it, I think that's actually our biggest challenge going forward, and that's why I've taken this post now. I'm now my baby is the economy and jobs, but I've taken this position when Dan became the mayor in Cape Town of community safety. I don't know if you've seen, but my challenges are that constitutionally I want the policing powers brought to a provincial level. We're the only democratically elected state or provincial government in the world that doesn't have a policing competency. That needs to change. I mean, the discussion I had with the mayor this morning are issues around security, of which the mayor's hands are tied. So I understand the voters need someone to blame, and they like to blame the guy closest to you, your councillor, political party right there. There are a lot of areas and it's complex. A lot of spaces around criminology. I mean, about the criminal system, the criminal justice system, how it works at local authority level, and who takes responsibility for what. And I think that we've got the most amazing constitution, but there were some decisions made when it was formed for various reasons, of which the one I supported then, that policing happens at a national level, because at that stage, remember, KZN was politically divided and really had a big fight on it. We had a big internal civil war almost on our hands, and you couldn't hand policing power to someone in that political race. So, but now we've moved on, and now we need to, as our constitution says, devolve power to lower or closer to the people. That's what I'll be fighting for. That's what I think we really need to get grips on next. Crime is something, and crime and lawlessness, they all go together. Murder on the one side, rape, all of these real heinous crimes on this side. But it starts with littering and telling the truth. And then all the stuff in between, right in the very middle, is corruption. So I think we've got a lot of work to do as a nation. I'd like to be part of a process of saying, how do we change this to become a nation that abides by the law of more. So again, behavioural change with the carrot and the stick.
So, coming into elections on the national and provincial level, the DA's been in power here for about 10 years. Why should voters in this province continue to vote?
Well, I think the record is there. The Premier will be giving our sort of 10 years in government at the State of the Province address now when we open Parliament. You know, in every indicator you can see the DA delivers better and way better than any other province run by the ANC. And those not only by our own indicators, but those are by the national indicators. So across all of those indicators, the one indicator that bothers me is the crime one, but we don't have the lever. The other one that we've got a lot of work to do is education. But of course, in the last 10 years, the track record has changed it from 60% of our kids not making it to the end of matric now to 40%. We're not there yet. I think best job opportunities are in this province, best job creation in this province, best business confidence levels in this province, but we've got a lot more to go. You know, we're at 20% unemployment rate, it's still way too high. But I do believe that if you judge the merits of the case and say, well, who would you prefer to actually take us to the next level again, I have got no doubt that it's the DA that can do it the best.
Thank you and good luck in the next few months.
Thank you.
Bye.